All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is our presentation today on visual project management. Thank you for joining. We'll just do some quick intros and ground rules, and then we'll jump into the main presentation. I am Will Cooper. I am a SharePoint solutions developer, and I do a few different things. I have a YouTube channel that I post learning videos about SharePoint on that's called SharePoint Smart. If you want to check out more content and learn how to do cool things in SharePoint, I hope you'll take a look at that later. I also run a product called SharePoint Dashboards, and that is a companion tool that works very nicely with the tool that we're going to be looking at today, which is Infowise Ultimate Forms. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that after our main presentation if you want to stick around. Infowise has a philosophy of making things simple and easy, and also we're continuously improving our tool set. And the tool set is Ultimate Forms. That's what we're going to be looking at today. This is a full toolkit that you can add to your SharePoint environment. It's available both for on-premise SharePoint and for SharePoint Online. And you don't have to be a developer. It's a no-code solution. You can do everything completely through the UI. Although you guys are on mute, we do want your feedback and questions. You can do that using the Q&A tool in our webinar interface. So please take advantage. Be patient. It may take a while to get to your questions, but I promise you that we'll try to answer as we get through the presentation. All right. So as I mentioned, this is available both for online and for on-premise SharePoint. So regardless of which version of SharePoint you have, you can take advantage of these tools and use what I'm going to show today. So out of the box SharePoint is a bit bare bones. Sometimes there's things we want to do and we just don't have the tools in SharePoint that are going to allow us to do that. And that's where Ultimate Forms comes in. By adding these tools to your environment, it allows you to do a whole bunch of different things. And so on the right, you can see this full workbench, and especially as a SharePoint solution developer, I've come to rely on these tools to build out the kind of functionality that people want. You can build all kinds of different solutions. So we're going to give an example of one of those today, but if you look on the Infowise website, you'll see that you could build just about anything that you might want to build inside of SharePoint, as long as you have good form building tools and tools that allow you to do things like custom actions and printing, email alerts, all those type of things, those are included. So let's focus on visual project management and let's talk about what that means in our goals before we jump to the main content. So visual project management is about making it very easy to understand key concepts, such as timelines. When it comes to dates, we want to understand things like progress to make sure that we're moving along, and we want to be able to compare these things easily instead of that information being hidden. It's about having an intuitive user interface that users can understand and allows us to get the high level information so we can make sure our project health is good and also that everybody can collaborate easily. That's kind of the high level of what we want. With those goals in mind, we know we want to kind of have these key features that I've listed out. We certainly want to have a good projects dashboard, which should include visual indicators. We don't want just, black text on a white background. We need to do more than that. Certainly, when it comes to projects, we're thinking about tasks. That is the heart of any good project management tool, is the manner in which we're able to manage tasks. We need to assign tasks. We need to be able to update tasks. And also, we have to keep in mind things like prerequisites. It may be that a task cannot begin until another task takes place. We want to have automated email notifications. So we're going to want to make sure those go out to go ahead and give a nudge to someone to let them know when they have a new task or if there's a key project update. A Gantt view is really important. This is the kind of time bar view, if you will, which allows us to see a side-by-side when comparing either between projects or tasks to help us see, what comes next, what have we already done, that type of thing. We need to keep a log of meetings. Certainly, if we have a project, we're going to have some team meetings, and we want to organize that in the context of our project. Most definitely, we're going to have documents. So we're going to have files that we need to share back and forth, and we want to have a centralized location to load those for our project, and want to make sure that's easy to use. We need to also keep up with the tracking of history. So not only where we are, but where we've been. When did it start? We want to do things like allow for project updates and see, a history of what's taking place on the project as it moves along. And similar to that, we want to include a discussion board. So rather than have these emails that go back and forth, which are hidden, to users, we want to facilitate communication through the context of the project. So everybody can see that we really want to have a hub for our project, if you will, where all of those updates are taking place, and anyone at any time can check and see what's going on. And that's a lot to accommodate. And with all those things, we still need to keep in mind ease of use and streamlining, because if this isn't easy to use, then we're not going to get user engagement. People aren't going to like the tool, and they're going to fall back on old habits, and we're going to lose the benefits of what we want to do. All right, so we're going to jump to SharePoint now. We'll get out of my boring PowerPoint slides, and here we are in SharePoint Online. So we're going to take a look at this from a user perspective. I'm going to walk through some steps, going to call out some key features, and then after we get through understanding how this is used, I'm going to talk to you about the setup, if you will. I'm going to talk about how the forms work and everything like that. One thing I want to make sure you know is that after our presentation today, you can download exactly what I'm presenting, and that's free for you to try out. So whether you're already an Ultimate Forms customer or whether you're considering this, everything I'm demonstrating, you can just download as a template for free from us and start using exactly what I'm showing right away. So that's very cool. Additional to that, we have more than 100 other templates that you can download, but just something I want you to know, you can get your hands on this and try it yourself. So let me spin up a new project, and we'll just kind of walk through right from the beginning. So I'm going to say human resources benefits planning. And I want you to really kind of think about ease of use as I do this. So certainly we're going to need a project manager. And I'm just going to use my own names for these because I don't want to drive my team members insane while I'm doing this presentation with all the email notifications. The project team, naturally, that can include multiple different people. I can add as many as I want on that. And then we really need to think about start and end as it relates both to the project and for the tasks. So really, these are planning dates. So of course, these may get updated and shifted, but we need to have a plan for when things start and when they're going to end. And then, we can adjust that as we go along. So I will start on April 2nd, and we'll say this should be finishing up by the end of the month. Okay, and at this stage, I just need to get the project started. And we're going to have a status. It's defaulting to not started, but our project is going to move through different phases. And at this point, I can just go ahead and save that out. Now that's going to kick off a workflow for me. You can see there's my human resources benefits planning. And on the right, you kind of see one of those indicators I'm talking about. So we have those arrows, and those show where we are in the project. So this helps us compare projects side by side to have a nice high-level understanding of where we are on that. So that'll move through different phases. So you can see this Apple's project is at phase 3. It's one before complete. So I don't have to dig into anything to understand the high level of where we are. We have some nice visual indicators for the dates. It just makes it a little easier to look at. We can see that start and end show up nice and clear. And we've got our dashboard sorted by project start date. So That just makes it easy for us to keep up with. Now, when the project gets started, it's going to kick off a workflow that does a couple things. It creates a folder for us, and it creates an automatic link. So you can see I have one here that I already created earlier for my IT assets project. And in this folder, I can just drag and drop files to that very easily. And it just uses what SharePoint already does, very nicely. I can just drag things in, add new subfolders, whatever I want. We have a dedicated folder in a library for our project, and that's the purpose. And that's going to work a lot better for us than SharePoint attachments. SharePoint attachments are okay if you're just attaching 1 or 2 files. Not so great when you have a whole bunch of files and I want to drag and drop multiple files. So this is really a better method. You can see my folder's now been created. So the project file's updated, it automatically generated a link for me. And then you see some other things. I've got some quick links to tasks and meetings, and then a Gantt view of the task. So I can do that right from the dashboard. So I can accordion out those sections to check really easily. It's saving me from having to do a lot of digging if I just want to check overall project health. Let's go ahead into that existing project where I've already got some things going on. We'll take a look at, what it looks like as you go through. We mentioned history tracking. We certainly want to be able to update that easily. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see what it looks like when we update the overall project status. We've got this button, it says update status, and I just pick its new status. So the way I've got this broken down, we've got not started, phase 1, 2, 3, and then complete. So I'm going to change it to complete. You'll notice this log will update at the bottom. And then when I drop back out to the dashboard, you can see this overall status indicator has me all the way up to the end. That's a complete project. So that's going to happen. And then additionally, we're going to be getting email notifications along the way. So that's very handy as well, because we want our users to be aware of when those updates are taking place. So I'll just show you a couple examples real quick. Anytime we get a task assignment, a project update, or there's a new comment on the project, all of these things are going to auto-generate emails to all of the members on our project team, or in the case of a task assignment, just to the person who's being assigned. So like I say, that's going to give them just a little nudge to go check their project dashboard, to look at the update, and then respond accordingly. Now, what we can also do is go in here and just make general comments on feedback. So maybe I'm the project manager and I want to tell my team about a key update. We're going to have a review meeting next Friday. Please let me know what we need. Okay, and then I've got this button. That's also going to update that history tracking, but it has 2 purposes. It does that, and it also triggers an email notification automatically out to my team. So that's very handy. A more fluid concept is discussion. Naturally, we want to keep all the discussion and conversation and comments flowing from the context of the project. We don't want things where certain team members are getting left in the dark and that kind of thing. So a way to do that is in this discussion area where I can say, where do I find the tools notes for my tab? I can just ask a general question here, add a comment, and then all the team members will see that and they get an email notice. So we have kind of a way to facilitate a back and forth just for general conversation. So those are some of the kind of peripheral things in the tool. And the thing that I feel is more important than anything is the task. So we've covered all the main updates on the front. We've got the discussions where it'll log. It always shows the newest entry on top, says who made the comment, when they did it, that type of thing. Team members can respond. We've got this nice link to the project files folder, so everybody can jump out there and upload or download whatever files they needed related to the project. And then additionally, we've got our meetings. This is maybe a nice place to just do some planning. Maybe you're going to send out a series of meeting invites, which you should do in the normal way, but you can additionally make a note of those meetings and, paste in that Teams meeting link, that type of thing, just to keep a log of, check-in meetings you're having with your team. All right, so let's really focus in on tasks now. Let's talk about how that works and what's critical in terms of that functionality. I'm going to do a new task. And what you should notice is there's a many-to-one relationship here. I've got my main project, but of course the project is going to be comprised of many tasks. So let's do a new task. Check for required fields and data. Okay, and it's automatically going to pass down the project name. And then, of course, we want to assign this to one of our team members. Now, with projects, a really key thing with project management is the concept of prerequisite tasks. It may be that I can't begin this task until something else takes place. And if that's true, I can use this prerequisite option. I can select that. That might be something even outside of my current project, okay? So I've got this drop down, and notice it tells me all of the tasks in my project management tool. And it is showing the status as well. That's going to be important later because maybe I want to check back on this task and see where we are with that. Now, the person assigning this needs to, go ahead and basically give a time frame, just like the project of when this should get done. So I could say, all right, well, this should get started, no later than April 22nd. And then we're expecting this should be complete by the end of that week. And of course, these things can be adjusted. Please check our folder for more notes. Or if you want, you could do an attachment on the bottom of this. And I can save. And that's going to automatically ping our assignee. Notice there's also a priority here. Some things are really critical. They've got to get done. And they're critical to the project health. Other things can kind of get done in a more broad time frame. So that's where the priority is going to be important. So that's going to be assigned. I see the prerequisite on there. And there's a very cool thing. When I hover over that prerequisite, I can see details about that related task. So that's very helpful to me. Now, if I had this task, I would see that the prerequisite isn't started yet. So that means I got to hold on. Now, as the assignee, it's really easy for me to report on status. So I can say, okay, I see I've been assigned this task, and I can come in here and update and say, okay, I'm working on it, and I made some progress. Well, how much progress did I make? Now I've got this nice slider, so I can give an estimate. I can say, I've got about half of this done. Just like that, or whatever other notes I want to do. And that way I can report back to the team, and that's going to update those visual indicators, which is really important to us. Okay, so that percent will refresh in a second, but if I click on this Gantt view, this is the first time where the Gantt view is going to become really important. Now this shows for the course of the year, the tasks that are assigned. It shows a couple things. It shows a bar, which is in length according to the start and the end date. And also it's color coded. It's color coded according to status. The blue one is not started and the orange one means it's in progress. So those colors are going to help us compare and understand open items in the project, things that have gotten started or the complete ones that are going to highlight in green. So that pops open a new window so I don't lose my place. And then we're going to be able to see these updates from the dashboard view. So if I go to the tasks, if I accordion that out, you're going to see that I have that 50% green bar. So this is the key thing about visual project management. It's giving our management, giving our users, giving people a way to understand at a high level how far along we are in the project and be able to identify things that are behind, maybe critical tasks that have not started. Who was it assigned to? When was it supposed to start? So in terms of managing the project, it's very easy for me to see. I've got a color-coded status indicator, which is helping me easily identify, again, where those tasks are and whether they've started. So I have lots of ways to understand visually where we are on projects. So a lot of things kind of rolled into one, if you will. Now, once I'm done looking at that, I can just click on close. Let me do that. And I can get to that Gantt view from here as well. So I can get to it not only from the form, but I can just click right from the dashboard and open up that view. And you can see that it's filtered according to whichever project that I'm working on. So I can go to this budget committee one. Oh, budget committee doesn't have any tasks yet. I haven't put that in, but you get the idea. Okay, now let's look at another calendar view, and this is for overall projects. So we talked about understanding and seeing visuals for an individual project. What if we just want to look at what are the overall projects going on? This is another view. I can hover over projects and see what's going on currently. And what's great about this custom calendar is that it allows me to pivot and look at the data, from a month to month or a Gantt view. And in the Gantt view, I can select to look at that, whichever time frame I want. So I can scroll across here and I can see the yearly view. So this will dynamically expand now according to however many projects I have going on. And as we know, there can be a lot of projects going on at any given time. So this is a more high-level Gantt view that allows us to compare between projects instead of the project-specific where we're comparing between tasks. So basically along the way, I've got these email notifications coming in. They're going to nudge me. They're going to provide project updates. Certainly as a project manager, I want to know about that. We certainly want to know that our team members are going to be notified when they're assigned new tasks. And we have a way to manage any kind of files. Maybe I want to put my meeting recordings there. If I need to get to the files for any kind of project, I don't have to go into the form to do that. I can just go right to my projects dashboard and I can just click on the folder link and boom, I'm right here. I can add my own subfolders. So I can drag and drop 20 files at a time, whatever I need to do. All right, so let's pivot. Let's talk a little bit about how you could download this and how you access the configuration of this tool, because you may want to make some adjustments to make it specific to your organization. And the way this is done is through this Ultimate Forms app. I've already have that installed in the site contents of this site. You can get that very easily from Infowise on their main website by try now for free. And you can have the full software for 30 days to evaluate and try this for yourself. And since I have that installed, it allows me to get into these extra tools. So in the command bar in SharePoint, you're going to see some new buttons appear. The key one is the design button. And after our presentation today, you'll be able to go to the solution catalog, then click on webinars, and you're going to see it as the very first tile. What you see right now is the one that I loaded from last month. Really easy to do. You just click on the tile. There's an install button. And what you should do is just make a new SharePoint site to install that, so you don't mix in the stuff with any other existing things you have. You just make a blank site, if you will. Now, in the design screen are links to all kinds of things. I'm going to talk to you about Form Designer. That's where this tool was set up that I created for this visual project management. The Form Designer is a drag and drop interface where you can just drag elements around. You can select from your SharePoint columns on the top of the page, and you can do things like change the look and feel of the form very easily. Maybe you don't like this light blue I chose. You could switch that to another color just using this color picker, hit OK and save. And what you see is what you get. It's very easy and intuitive to work with. And you can see I have a tab control, which lets me do a tab form. That's how I broke out these different sections. So you can just come in here and set up rules and even do things like buttons. Let's take a look at how the button works. This is a special kind of a button. It's an action and save button. And this is how I set it up to append information into this discussion field. All I had to do is basically just post some text in there. And that means every time that you click the button, it's going to do that. And then I can also do things like set up rules. In this case, I didn't want that button to be available unless they had already typed a comment. And once that's done, then they can click the button. But until then, I don't want them to click a button. I don't want them to add a blank comment, that type of thing. Form Designer is awesome. It is my favorite part of Ultimate Forms. It is the best way that I've ever seen to build forms in SharePoint. I absolutely love working with it. It's easy to learn as a new user, but as somebody who has been developing SharePoint forms for more than 10 years, it is something that's a lot of depth and a lot of versatility, which is extremely important to me because sometimes you have difficult requirements. Your organization may require you to enforce certain rules. You may need to do things like show or hide fields depending on the user role. It may be that there has to be a manager section, for example, and this allows you to accommodate those kind of requirements. So when you do check out Ultimate Forms for the first time, I really encourage you to take a close look at Form Designer. And then, of course, with this kind of system, we're going to have email alert rules. Those are very easy to set up. You can do that directly from the interface. It's simple concepts. You basically define a trigger condition. In my case, I'm looking for project comment. And whenever one of those does come in, then I just specify that the email should go out to the people in the project manager field and project team fields. And then I just put in my content using a rich text editor. And I can simply do things like refer to the fields by just, double clicking on them, and they show up in brackets on my form. And I can format this however I want. I can change the font size. I can change the styling. I can do highlights. Whatever it is I want in terms of the look and feel on my email notifications, that's very easy to set up. So that's where I can set those to appear. And then I can do some automation too. In my case, I wanted to auto-generate a folder for my project right when we have a new project. So I did an action for that. And then I updated the link. So that's the automation side of that. You can use this in addition to Power Automate. They can work side by side very nicely. So automation, of course, is going to be a key part of any kind of solution. Let's talk about how you can check this stuff out. So if you go to the InfowiseSolutions.com site, and then as I mentioned, click Try Now for free, then Install Now. And you can sign up for our full software without any limit other than it's going to work for 30 days. That way you can do an evaluation and try anything you want to for yourself, all of the things that I just showed. So once you do that, you can download the template that I showed in the presentation. So I hope you'll check that out. Our site has lots of information. If you click on resources, especially I will emphasize in tutorials, you'll see a link to something called Kickstart Training. Kickstart Training is for people who are brand new to Ultimate Forms, and it'll help you walk through the very first form you create. So if you need a little practice work, you can either do that by watching a video, or you can just walk through the steps on the screen if you prefer to do it that way. So that's a very good way to begin. And then beyond that, we have information about training. So if you want a more structured training, you want to get on a web meeting with a certified expert who's trained hundreds of people on how to use Ultimate Forms, we have that type of option as well in our training section. You can sign up for training for your organization, help you guys ramp up and get comfortable with using these tools. And then another thing I'll just mention briefly, today we're talking about visual project management, but we show a new solution every month and we've been doing that for years. So if there's another type of system you want to build, very likely you're going to find it on this page. This could be timesheets, it could be learning management, it could be onboarding, anything you can think of, it's probably on this page somewhere. So I do encourage you to check out the webinars to see if there's something that matches a specific project that you want to do. All right, I'm going to pause with what I'm doing for a moment, and I want to take the time to answer any questions that you have. So I'm going to go to the Q&A section right now, and let me take a look at your questions and see what I can answer for you. The calendar views, one of the calendar views is using a special custom Infowise component. That was the Gantt view for projects. The Gantt view for tasks is using a template from SharePoint dashboards, and I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. Good question, Aaron. That is included as part of this template if you downloaded it. They're not, there was a question, are tasks integrated with to-do? They're not integrated to-do. This is just SharePoint list that we're working with. In regard to mention features, anytime there's going to be a comment on the project, that's going to send an email to the team. So I guess a little more simple function. It's really intended that everybody on the team is aware if comments are posted into the project. This is being recorded, and we will post this as a video on YouTube later today if you want to refer back to this or show any of your friends. Kanban board, that view is not in this particular one, but that is a template in SharePoint dashboards. I'll cover that in just a moment. Good question. A lot of project management like to have a Kanban board for, moving tasks back and forth. So I'll come to that in just a second. Okay, so please be sure to keep your questions going. I'm going to pivot now, and I'm going to go into some information about SharePoint dashboards. However, if you have any questions or further comments about this project management tool, please keep putting those in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer those for you. So additional to Infowise Ultimate Forms, there is a tool that was used as a part of this template, and that is SharePoint Dashboards. And of course, this site is sharepointdashboards.com. You can go check it out. And the first thing I want to tell you is that all of you guys can try this for free, just like Ultimate Forms. The setup's a little bit different. If you try this tool, it will give you access to 21 free templates. All you need to do is provide your name and email address to get signed up. You get a login, and then the 21 templates shown are available to you to use on an unlimited basis. The subscription offered at this site provides the full set of templates, which as of now are 198 templates, which includes everything. So if you like these tools after you try this and want to go on to be able to use everything, you can sign up for a subscription. You can look up pricing information on our site if you go to the purchase page. And I'm going to call out some of the items that were used today. I'm going to go into some of that right now. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, so this is one of them. This is the date box that did the formatted view for the projects dashboard. So these are all very easy to do. There's training out on the SharePoint dashboard site. You can train yourself to do it. Generally, all you have to do is, just click on a button to copy the template. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so if you just click on the button that says copy template, basically you just paste this code over into your SharePoint tool. That's all there is to it. Let me show you an example of another one that was used, which was the one that has the arrows on there. And that is a type of a progress indicator. So that one's called process stages. And what's nice about this is all adjustable. So if you want the size to be a little different, you can do that. Maybe you want something a little more compact. Or if you want to choose different colors or anything like that, you can just copy and paste these templates and use them anywhere on the site. The one that we noticed most notably was the Gantt view, which is a very popular template. And there are lots of ways you could have the look and feel set up. So if you like the idea of being able to configure the fonts, the colors, and everything about the look and feel, then signing up for this tool will allow you to do that. Here's one you can see with a dark background. It's a little bit more compact than some of the other options. So that is a template available on this site. There's lots of good options, even just with the free one. So if you go, for example, I'll show you the one that I use more than any other template, which is the edit button. I use that all the time. So if I go to the edit button, incredibly easy to use. You can just go through here and it just sets up a simple button that takes you directly to the edit form. I used a button that was a slight variation on that, which is the menu button, which actually gives a few options. So instead of just going to the edit form, I can go to the display form. So these formatting templates are baked into this visual project management template, which will be available for download free at our site, but they're static. They're set with the configuration. If you want the ability to adjust, you of course would go to this tool to do that. In terms of learning how to use this tool, I really recommend the new user training. So sort of equivalent to Ultimate Forms, there's a Kickstart training. There's this 10-minute new user training. It'll show you how to use 4 of the popular templates right off the bat. So that includes the edit button, and then also shows you how to do a toggle button and then be able to format rows, that type of thing. So this is a tool that you could use additional Ultimate Forms to make great looking SharePoint dashboards. And one thing that's nice is you only need to get a license for the person downloading templates. You don't have to get licenses for people that are just viewing what you set up. So this is an additional thing that you can check out. And I do feature templates as I release on my SharePoint Smart channel. So if you check out my YouTube channel, you'll be aware every time I release new templates with this tool. So that's pretty much everything I want to show with SharePoint dashboards. What additional question? Oh, there's a question about a Kanban board. That is one of the templates available here. That is related to tasks, and it's called Task Board. So if you're interested in getting something like that, check out the Task Board template at SharePointDashboards.com. All right, what other questions or comments do you guys have? Now, if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with us, we'll be happy to talk to you. The way that you can facilitate that is to go to the InfowiseSolutions.com site. If you scroll down the page a little bit, you'll see there's a blue box and you can request a demo. And that means we'll set up a web meeting with you and talk to you one-on-one. So that'll be a great opportunity to talk about a specific project that you need to do. Once we receive your request, we'll get you scheduled for a web meeting and we can talk to your team. So please take advantage of that if you want to have a more personal conversation. As far as Teams approval workflow, I believe you could use that with the form builder. This system was showing something specific just to SharePoint. There's no Power Automate workflow in this. This is using Ultimate Forms actions, but you absolutely can use Power Automate workflows alongside Ultimate Forms and alongside SharePoint Dashboards templates. It works great. I do it all the time. Aaron had an additional comment. Yeah, you should go ahead and enter a support ticket for that. It would be outside of scope for our current conversation. There's a question about SharePoint Premium. I'm not sure I understand that question exactly, but no, I don't expect there should be any conflicts with the system. Bear in mind, we have thousands of users using this system every day to build custom forms, so I don't expect any kind of compatibility issues at all. You should be perfectly fine. Okay, if there are not further questions, I think we're getting ready to wrap up. I really appreciate everybody staying in for the long haul to see all the information that we're presenting. I'll go ahead and state once more, this will be available to watch or share from our YouTube video later today. The template that I demonstrated will be available to download for free from the Ultimate Forms site, and that's by using the design button to get to the Ultimate Forms settings screen, go to the solution catalog and click on Infowise webinars. You'll see it as the first tile. You can download and apply the template I demonstrated to your own SharePoint site and try it yourself. So that will be later today. And in order to take advantage, if you don't already have that, of course, you need to install your trial software for Infowise Ultimate Forms. And you just click the try now for free to get to that. And SharePoint Dashboards, of course, has a free version that you can sign up to use. That's easy to sign up for. Just go to the SharePoint Dashboard site and click Get Started, and then click on Get 21 Free Templates, and you can get your free account for that. Everyone, thank you for attending today. Good questions. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you're able to try the tool for yourself, and I hope you guys have a great end of your week.